Hello everyone. All right, so the next programming chapter, actually the 10th programming chapter 5 is the stock profit, the stock profit program. Okay, so the profit from the sale of a stock can be calculated as follows. Profit is equal to basically this formula, where NS is the number of shares, PP is the purchase price per share, PC is the purchase commission paid, SP is the sale price per share, and SC is the sale commission paid. If the calculation yields a positive value, then the sale of the stock resulted in a profit. If the calculation yields a negative value, then the sale resulted in a loss. Write a method that accepts as arguments the number of shares, the purchase price per share, the purchase commission paid, the sale price per share, and the sale commission paid. Sorry about that. The method should return the profit or loss from the sale of stock. Demonstrate the method in a program that asks the user to enter the necessary data and displays the amount of the profit or loss. Okay, so over here we've been given a formula here which calculates the profit from the sale of a stock. So basically we have to write a method which is going to accept these arguments. It's going to return the profit, and if the profit is a positive number, the user made a profit. If it's a negative number, the user made a loss, and then we should go ahead and display the profit or loss as well. So let's go ahead and start, and it will make sense as we do it. So I'm going to go ahead and create a class, and I'll call it stock profit. And then I'll create the main method. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so over here I see that we are going to be asking the user for input. I know we haven't gotten there yet, but I saw it here in the question. It said demonstrate the method in a program that asks the user to enter the necessary data and displays the amount of the profit or loss. So I know that beforehand we are going to be using one of Java's features for accepting user input. So I know we can use either the scanner class or the JOptionPaint class. Now for this one, I'm going to go ahead and use the scanner class because the past few videos I've been using the JOptionPaint. But you can use the JOptionPaint for this one as well. I'm just choosing to use the scanner class. Now to use the scanner class, you have to import it. So I'm going to go ahead and import it, and you import it with this statement: import java.util.scanner. So by typing the statement, we have basically imported the scanner. So now we can go ahead and use it. Now to use a scanner, we have to go ahead and declare a scanner object so we can use it to accept input from the user. So I'm going to create a scanner object. I'm going to call it scanner. I'm creating a new scanner object in memory. I am passing in the system.in method, which is going to accept byte info from the keyboard, and it's going to connect the system.in to the basically connect that info to the connect the info that we take from the user through the keyboard to the scanner object, which you can then go ahead later on to use the methods in the scanner class to convert whatever it is that the user has typed to, let's say integers or doubles or whatever, or whatever we need it to be in. So in this program, I know we're going to accept an input, so that's why I did this. Now the other thing we have to do is we have to create a method which is going to be accepting these argument. So let's go ahead and do that. Now in the previous programs in chapter 5, I've said that some people choose to define their methods below the main method, which is fine. It's fine because even if you define it below the main method, it's still going to be accessible if you call it in main. Okay, as long whenever you define a method over here in this class, it's going to be available to main, even if you define it below it. But I'm just going to go ahead and define my above it. Sometimes I do that just because it's a bit more logical. I mix it anyways, but I'm just going to go create some methods above this method, above this main method, just for this one. I'm just choosing. I mean, not just for this one, but I mean for this video, okay? But I do it mostly. Okay, so let's see what they said we should do over here. Let's see. So it says write a method that accepts as arguments the number of shares. Okay, so we know this is the first argument. It's one of the arguments is going to be one of the arguments that that's going to be passed. The price per share, the purchase commission paid, the sale price per share, and the sale commission paid. The method should return the profit. Okay, so we know what it's returning. So first of all, let's go ahead and define the method. I'm trying to look for the name of it. If it said we should, it didn't say. It said write a method that accepts arguments. Okay, so it didn't say we should give it a name. So let's go ahead and define a method and call it profit calculator, because it didn't say we should give it a name, right? So it's going to be a public static method. Public because this method is going to be available to code outside this class, and static because this method belongs to this class. And over here I need to specify the return type. Now I know over here that the method should return the profit or loss from the sale of the stock. Now the profit or loss can be a double. It can be a double. It can be. It's basically a monetary value. So it can be, let's say, $25.2 or $25.0. It can be a double. So I'm going to specify the return type as a double over here, and I'm going to name it, which we said. I said I was going to call it profit calculator. So profit calculator here. Now I'm going to go ahead and specify the arguments here. Now I know that over here, one of the arguments are here. It says write a method that accepts as arguments the number of shares. So I know the number of shares is is what I need to do. Basically, the first argument I need to pass. Since this method is going to be accepting arguments, I'm defining parameters now to store those arguments. Okay, to store those values passed in as argument. So the first argument, or the first parameter I need to define is the number of shares. So it's a number of shares. Like it's a number of shares. You can go ahead and buy, maybe I'll just make it a double. Although it's it can be 2 shares or 3 shares or 4 shares. Someone can just buy a fraction of a share. Or maybe not. I'll make it an int then. Or just to be safe, I'll just make it a double. Okay, just to be flexible, I'll make it a double. So I'm going to define a double parameter, and I'll call it number of shares. So double number of shares. That's the first parameter I'm defining. The second parameter is going to be the purchase price per share. Now we know the price is a monetary value, so it can be a double, as in a decimal. $25.2, $28.5. So we know it's a double, right? So I'm defining that as a double as well. And that's going to be the purchase price per share. So I'll call it purchase price. And we have three more parameters we have to define. The next is the purchase commission paid. So I'm going to go ahead and also define that as a double, because that commission is a monetary value. It can be a decimal, like let's say $48.2 or $5.25, so 5.25. So I'm going to define that as a double, and I'll call it the purchase commission. So purchase commission. And I'm going off the screen here, so I will break this onto another line. So just one more. Yeah, I'll break it onto another line over here, and I'll continue. So I'm just breaking it, so please don't get confused over there. Yeah, please don't get confused. So purchase commission, and then the fourth parameter is going to be the sale price per share. Okay, sale price. Now sale price, we know that is also a monetary value, so it can be, let's say, $50.25. So I'm going to go ahead and define a double variable which is going to store where is it, the sale price per share. So double sale price, and then the last parameter is going to be the sale commission. And the sale commission is going to be just like the purchase commission. We know it's a monetary value. We know it's a double, so double sale commission. So now we have if the user calls this method and passes in all these arguments, we will have them available, so we can use them in our calculation. So we know that the formula to calculate the profit is this, right? So first of all, I'm going to define a profit double variable, right? It's going to be a double because the profit can be, it's a monetary value. It can be, let's say, $50.25, 50.25. So I'm defining that as a double. So I'm defining a double variable, and I'm calling it profit. Okay, double profit. And profits now is going to hold the profits by using this calculation, and we've been given it here. NS stands for number of shares. Okay, over here it says where NS is the number of shares. The number of shares, we defined it over here as a parameter, number of shares. So the calculation is going to be I'm just going to type it just like this with the parentheses and everything. So first of all, it's number of shares, and we know that's times SP over here. Where is it? SP. SP is the sale price per share. Now, sale price is over here. Sale price. So we are multiplying the number of shares by the sale price, and all that is in parentheses, minus SC, which is the sale commission here, and SC is the sale commission paid. Now we define the SC as the sale commission over here, which is sale commission. So we are subtracting the sale commission from that. And all of this is in parentheses here, like that. And then now we are subtracting that from NS, which is over here, which is number of shares. Okay, again, number of shares, and then multiplying by PP, which is the purchase price per share. So number of shares multiplied by purchase price, which we have here defined as a parameter. So purchase price, and all of that is in parentheses. So I'll do that. I'll surround them that with parentheses, and then we are adding PC, which is the purchase commission paid. PC is the purchase commission paid, and I define purchase commission over here. So I'm going to type in purchase commission. Now I'm going off the screen here, so I'll break it. But before I do, there's parentheses around this. Okay, so I'm going to surround this whole thing with parentheses, and I'll break the line in a second. I'll break it here. Okay, it's just being broken on a new line. So that's going to be my profit calculated. Sorry about that. All right, so now all I have to do once we are done with a semicolon, all I have to do once we are done calculating the profit is to return it. So I'm going to return the profit here like this. So once this method is called, the profit is going to be returned. Now over here in main, I'm going to now create a program that's going to use a scanner to ask for these details. Okay, so all I'm going to do is start asking for the details. Start asking for the details, starting with number of shares. So, and then I'll go ahead and store the resulting variable. So first of all, I'm going to ask the user to please enter the number of shares. So system.out.println, please enter the number of shares. And this is going to be displayed to the user. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the scanner object that I just created over here to prompt for user input. So I'm going to call scanner.next double. Remember, I defined it as a double, so that's what I'm going to do. But you can define it as an int if it suits the question more. But for now, I'm going to be safe and define it as a double. So I'm going to call scanner.next double, and what this scanner.next double is going to do is it's going to pop up a text box and allow the user to type in the value. Now, whatever value the user types is going to be converted to a double and returned. When it's returned, I need a place to store it. So I'm going to define a variable which is going to store the number of shares. So I'm going to over here define a double variable to hold the number of shares. Now we said number of shares was defined as a double over here, so I'm going to do that. double number of shares is going to be equal to, actually, sorry, I can go ahead and define, I can do that here and then use it down here. So I'll do just that. So I'm going to define number of shares, and number of shares now is going to hold whatever the user typed converted to a double. So that's going to be number of shares. I'm going to copy the same 2 lines and use it for the rest. The next thing I want to ask for is the purchase price. So please enter the purchase price. And once a user types in the purchase price, it's going to be converted to a double and returned. And once it's returned, I need a place to store it. So I'm going to define a double variable. I'm going to call it purchase price. And now purchase price is going to hold what the user has typed converted to a double. I'm going to go ahead and paste what I copied to ask for the rest. Now the third thing I need is the purchase commission. So I'm going to say please enter the purchase commission here. And we need a place to store the purchase commission. So I'm going to go ahead and define the purchase commission here. And purchase commission is going to hold the purchase commission the user types. I'm going to copy what I have copied to ask for the fourth argument, which is going to be the sale price. So please enter the sale price here. And I'm going to define a variable to hold just that. So double sale price. And now sale price is going to hold what the user has typed converted to a double. And last but not least, it's please enter the sale commission is what we need. So please enter the sale commission, and I need to define a variable to hold that. So double sale commission, and sale commission is going to hold what the user has typed converted to a double. So now we will have all 5 arguments stored here. Now what we can do next is to call the method. Call this profit calculator method. We have all the arguments we can pass in this method. So I'm going to go ahead and call this method by its name. So profit calculate. Actually, we can go ahead and let's see. I'm going to go ahead and store the profit in a variable. So I'm going to define a variable called profits. Profits is going to hold a double variable because the amount is monetary. It can be a decimal. So therefore double. Okay, and then I'm going to use profit to get the result of the profits, or basically the profit which is going to be returned from when I call the method. So I'm going to call profit calculator, which is the method over here, and I'm going to pass in these arguments that I just have here in these 5 variables. So the first thing I need is the number of shares, and number of shares is stored right here. So I'm just going to copy that and I just type it. The second thing I need is the purchase price, which I have here. So purchase price. Third thing I need is the purchase commission. The fourth thing I need is the sale price. And the last thing I need is the sale commission. So basically, by passing these 5 arguments, this method is going to return the profit and store it in the value of profits. Now the program said over here that write a method. Okay, over here the method should return the profit or loss from the sale of the stock. So demonstrate this over here. It said if the calculation yields a positive value, then the sale of the stock resulted in a profit. If the calculation yields a negative value, then the sale resulted in a loss. It didn't say we should use if statements, but over here, all it said was demonstrate the method in a program that asks the user to enter the necessary data and displays the amount of profit or loss. So since we have the profit, we can just go ahead and display it. Or we can also make it a bit more fancy and say if profit is less than 0. If it's, I'm sorry, I forgot the parentheses. I thought I was coding in Python. All right. Okay, so if profit is less than 0, meaning if profit is a negative number, just like they said here. Okay, just like they said, if the calculation yields a negative number, then the sale resulted in a loss. So if the profit is less than 0, then we know the sale resulted in a loss. So we can just go ahead and print a statement, system.out.println, and say you made, actually we can use a printf, so because we want it formatted, right? So we want printf, system.out.printf, and let's go ahead and format it. So you made a loss of, now since I want to format it, I'm going to specify a format. I'm going to type in a format specifier. So I know I want to format the profit value. Okay, so I want it formatted because the profit value is a double. I want it formatted as a float. It's a float pretty much. So I'm going to use percentage F to represent the float. It's a placeholder. This percentage and F it's pretty much a placeholder. A variable, the content of a variable is going to replace this, but I'm specifying how I want it formatted. So system.out.print formatted. Okay, so you made a loss of percentage F. I want it formatted to 2 decimal places. So I'm specifying the precision. Okay, 0.2 means I want it formatted to 2 decimal places. 0.3 means I want it formatted to 3 decimal places. I want it formatted to 2 decimal places. You put the precision in between the percentage and the F. Okay, so that's my precision right there. And I want commas where necessary. I want the program or the interpreter, the program to basically put commas where necessary. So I'm going to type a comma before the precision, okay, in between the percentage and the F. So this comma basically is going to force it to, or basically allow it to display it with commas where necessary. It's going to put a comma in between zeros, basically where necessary. Not all zeros, but basically if you have $2 million, it's going to display 2,000,000,000. It's going to automatically put commas where necessary. And I also want a $sign in front of it. So I put a $sign in front of everything. So basically a value is going to replace it. And the value that's going to replace it is going to be the arguments that I pass over here. Okay. So the argument I'm going to pass it is profit. So profit is going to basically replace this and format it this way. So you made a loss off and it's going to be formatted this way. Profit is going to replace this placeholder. All right, so else, okay, if profit is not less than 0, then profit is it's either equal to 0 or let's say, well, in this case they just want us to test if it's negative or positive. So if it's not less than 0, then it's positive, because 0 can be considered positive. So if it's not less than 0, then it's positive. So let's just use an else. So if it's not negative, then it's positive. So else, then let's go ahead and display you made a profit of the value profit. So it's basically the same thing here. So I'm copying all of that and I'm just using that. So system.out.printf, you made a profit, because if it's not less than 0, then that means it's either 0 or above. So you made a profit of the same value, and profit is going to replace it. And that's it. We're done. Now let's test it to see what happens. So I'm going to create a new folder for stock profit. Is that what it's called? I think so. Okay, I'll create this folder and then I'll save it here as stock profit.java. Okay, so we have a couple of errors. So let's see. Operator cannot be applied to double. It cannot be applied to double. Let's see. Okay, so let's work on these. I don't know exactly why it's saying that. Say the operator cannot be applied to a double. Or because of what? Let's see. It cannot subtract from it. We'll fix that in a second. We'll fix that in a second. I'm not sure it's because of this. That should be fine. And I don't think that's the case. All right, so we'll fix that in a second. Let's just fix the other ones. So it says it cannot find symbol purchase commission, and this is here, purchase commission. That's because I didn't purchase commission. Okay, I typed it wrongly over here. So it's supposed to be PURCH. Okay, so that's gone. Cannot find symbol purchase commission. I use purchase commission somewhere in over here. So this is purchase commission. This is purchase commission. Over here I use 1S. I guess that's why it's complaining. So okay, so that's gone also. So it happened that this wasn't even the case. This wasn't even the case. So sometimes I guess it has errors, but it points you to a different place or something before or after. But let's see. Let's see. Profit method profit calculator double. It cannot. Let's see. Cannot find symbol. Cannot find. Okay. Let's see how we named it. We named it over here as profit calculator. Over here so I made a spelling mistake. It's supposed to be profit calculator. Profit calculator, like this, and it's fixed. So I guess it wasn't the case because this looked fine. I don't know why I was saying that. It looked fine. So sometimes you have errors somewhere, and it points you, to a different line. But I guess it's referring to a line before or after it. So now let's run this program and see how it works. So you please enter the number of shares. It's basically number of shares. I'm going to type in 6,000. Please enter the purchase price. I bought it at $2. Please enter the purchase commission. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I don't know. Let's see. 0.05. I don't know, for 5%. Please enter the sale price. I sold it for $3. Please enter the sale commission, 0.05. You made a profit of 5,999.90. I don't know. I don't know how it makes sense. I don't know about this formula. I guess it kind of makes sense. But if the calculation is fine, if it's right, then this value should be correct. So, yes. If you have any questions, please comments down below and I'll do everything to respond to them. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves and I'll see you next time with the next program. All right, bye-bye.